Hi, eighth grade. How's it going? Um, we're on to chapter 15. So you had been in chapter 14 during this entirety of quarantine, and now we finally made it to chapter 15. I do want to take a moment and talk a little bit more about chapter 15 with you and some questions that might be a little bit confusing or some things that they say that might be a little bit confusing. So, Civil War, we're here, it's happening, and they're going to be talking about the differences between the North and the South. And the last time that we had been in class, I was telling you that what we were talking about was super boring, but it was going to play a big role in the Civil War, and that is roads, canals, all those things, railroads. Those were going to have a major impact on the Civil War. And if you remember, most of those roads, canals, railroads were being built in the North. Transportation, much easier. Some other things that the North had were factories, okay? Were able to produce a lot of goods needed for the war, a lot of guns, ammunition, just normal things that people would need for fighting in a war. You were able to produce much more easily in the North. But there is something they say in here that's going to be a little bit confusing. So if we scroll down, North against the South, and it starts talking about difference in population and things like that. Um, One of the things that you might be a little confused on is when they say the North also had some advantages. It had a larger population, more farmland, and more factories. Oh my gosh, if it would stay there. Okay. Obviously, we know it had a larger population. Obviously, we knew it had more factories. But you're probably super confused when it says farmland. I understand. It is very confusing. Now, land mass, the North definitely had more of. It was much larger than the South. But where farmland comes into play is in the South, they had tons of farmland and their economy was based on agriculture. However, the agriculture they used was for cash crops. Cash crops are crops made for to sell. The North had more farmland of just food for people, farms for individual families, as opposed to cotton. Now, cotton in the South, yes, that's going to be very valuable when fighting a war because you need clothing, you need canvas for things. That's important, 100%. But another huge agricultural item that the South had was tobacco. Not very useful in a war. Okay, so while the North had a ton of grains that could feed the army, the South didn't. And I knew that was going to be a little bit confusing when you were reading the fact that the North had more farmland, because all of this year we've been talking about the fact that the farmland in the South is one of the major reasons they were different from the North. So I hope that cleared a few things up. Other than that, everything is going to stay the same as last week. I think it worked a little bit better putting this information into a Google form rather than giving you the quiz and then having you send it back to me through pictures or just your answers. It's easier having it all in one place. So it will be through a Google form once again. Um, and then office hours are the exact same as last week. I hope I get to see more of you. So 11:30 to noon, technically today, um, are our office hours. So if you get to this before that, then go ahead and see some friends during our office hours, talk to some people that you haven't been able to see in a while. I think that would be pretty cool. So I hope everyone's doing really, really well. I miss you guys. If you have any questions, as always, email me, and I hope to see you later. Bye, guys.